What's up, everybody? Primetime CP23 here, back with another video. Today we're back in the PTR. We're just under Paragon 100, and we've got the start of a pretty decent build. So far I've been able to destroy Torment 10 with this setup. I think this is going to be the start of, for lack of a better term, a brief series on this PTR where I'm experimenting with the wizard and maybe even with the other class new sets, the new barbarian set and the new witch doctor set. But right now I really want to focus on the wizard. Right now there is a bug going on with the skill Arcane Torrent mixed with the Etched Sigil and the Death Wish, which are the two channeling items, that basically is making the damage scale out of control. It's completely broken. It's not working as it's intended. So rather than sit around and wait for them to fix that, I've gone a completely different direction with this set. And so far, it's kind of fun. It's very different from what you normally play with a wizard these days, and really with any class, as far as I can tell. So there are a couple dead items right now because I am basically out of death's breaths and completely out of bounty materials, and I just haven't had the energy to go and do another big round of bounties before I recorded this. I wanted to get this video out, get people working on this, and so that we can see if this is going to be, a viable build for the wizard in Season 20. So it is using the 6-piece Typhoon's Veil set. So with 2-piece bonus, we're going to double the duration of Hydras and increase the number of heads on our Hydras by 2. 4-piece set, damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive. Each time you take damage, a head dies. So this gives you kind of a weird balance, kind of a weird give and take of where you have to stand back and let your Hydras do your damage for you. But at the same time, you have to be very mobile. You can't just stand in one place. You have to be moving. You have to try and avoid as much damage as possible. I think how this works is that if you get hit with something, but you have enough armor and resistances that you don't actually take damage, I don't think it procs that effect. I think you get to keep all your Hydra heads. So I feel like the more damage reduction we can pack into this build, the better it's going to get. And then finally, the 6-piece bonus. Your Hydras deal 1,000% increased damage for each Hydra head you have alive. Currently, I'm able to have a maximum of 10 Hydra heads. I'm not positive about the other runes on Hydra. They may be able to spawn more heads, and if that's the case, then this is going to be basically irrelevant because something else is going to do strictly more damage. But this is kind of what I've been working with, is a 6-piece bonus with Unity. That's going to give you a bunch of damage reduction. Serpent Sparker to give you an extra Hydra active at a time and deal an extra up to 600% damage. This is required. If you're going to play something with this build, you have to have the Serpent Sparker so that you get that extra Hydra at all times. And then I have just a random offhand. I didn't want to use the Etched Sigil. I'm not going to be using any spenders, really. I'm basically just going to throw out my Hydras and run around in a circle. Then we're using the Mantled Heal Ring. So enemies stunned with paralysis also take up to 14,000% damage as lightning. You have to be running the passive paralysis to make this happen, but we'll get back to the skills here in just a minute. Ashnagar's Blood Bracers to, again, just give you a bunch of extra health, or shields, basically. And the Flavor of Time, just my personal favorite amulet. I love it. Getting that double pylon effect is just ridiculous. In this build, getting double shield pylon is going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely insane. Belt is kind of an open slot. I haven't figured out what exactly is going to be best in slot here. I'm thinking it's going to end up being a Witching Hour, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. I also was going to try and use a Ring of Royal Grandeur instead of Unity, just to see if we could fit in an Aquila Cuirass. I think it would still probably work, but again, coming back to my cube issues, being, completely out of crafting mats, I didn't have time to get something else. So I think you can drop Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac and put in either a Ring of Royal Grandeur, or you can just put an Aquila Cuirass in the cube during Season 20. Now, for non-seasonal play and for any time after Season 20, you're going to have Ring of Royal Grandeur in the cube. But anyway, so that's what that third slot should be. The first two slots are going to be either Starfire or Serpent Sparker, depending on which one you have a better rolled one of. I don't have a level 70 Starfire, so I just threw it in the cube. And then the Magistrate. Magistrate, Hydras periodically cast Frost Novas, whatever, that doesn't matter, and deal 600% increased damage. That's the important part. So we have a couple of big damage buffs for our Hydras specifically. Our set bonus is big damage for the Hydras, and then Starfire gives increased damage your distance away from enemies with lightning damage, which we're using lightning damage. Moving on to the skills, trying to keep this as quick as I can. So this is another area where I haven't figured out exactly what's going to be best in slot everywhere. So we're going to go with a primary. I think you can probably drop this. I'm thinking you might be better off running something like Slow Time instead of Electrocute, because, again, you're never really going to run out of resource. You're never really going to, need to hit one single target. Then we're using Black Hole with Spell Steal, Magic Weapon Deflection, and Ice Armor with Chilling Aura. Both of those are just going to be for extra damage reduction. Then we're going to use Teleport. I like the Wormhole Rune because it gives you that extra teleport. You could probably also use Safe Passage so that you gain more damage reduction when you land. And then the damage dealer of the build is Hydra with the Lightning Hydra Rune. Passives right now I'm working with, as I said, Paralysis is necessary. You have to have it for this build to work. Unstable Anomaly for the cheat death. Power Hungry. Because we're using Starfire, we're trying to be as far away from enemies as possible. Got to be far away from enemies so that you aren't taking damage, so that you're not losing your Hydra heads. So it all kind of works together. And then Galvanizing Ward works really well with Ashnagar's Blood Bracers to give you a big fat shield. I'm going to go ahead and run through a Torment 10 Greater Rift real quick, just so that y'all can kind of get an idea of how the playstyle is. So first thing, pop into the Rift. Of course, you're going to activate your 2 defensive abilities, and then you just start throwing out Hydras. As you can see, the Hydras literally kill everything at this difficulty. Now, I don't know how well that damage is going to scale. I know that they're literally one-shotting everything at Torment 10, or Greater Rift 45. But with a little work and some passives, and most importantly some legendary gems, I feel like it's going to continue to scale. I don't know how high. I'll be posting videos over the next couple of days, and of course streaming, and you can tune into both of those. See, we just one-shot that elite pack. You can tune into the streams, continue to tune into the channel for more updates on this build. So I think it's kind of fun. I think it's different. I think it's very different from really any other build out there right now. I mean, yeah, something like Wave of Light Monk, yes, you have to kind of run around. But honestly, this is just chill. This is very passive. You don't really have to do too much. Here's a conduit. It might be worth it to just run. We'll stop and fight things. Whoa! As you can see, if you run out of Hydras, you are going to be fairly squishy. So be careful. That popped my second life. I got a little reckless there. But, you know, I'm not playing hardcore, so whatever. It doesn't really matter. So the build that's currently performing at the very top of the leaderboard, I believe it's clearing Greater Rift 150 solo in non-seasonal. That build is using Arcane Torment, which is currently bugged. Basically, your damage modifiers are just going absolutely nutty, and that's not intended. But this, since you're not using that channeling, those channeling items, I think it's pretty safe to say that once they correct whatever's going on with Arcane Torrent, this variant that I'm working on is going to be basically untouched. It's going to be fine. It's still going to be performing, you know, exactly how it's performing right now. You know, I am testing this in seasonal. You know, as you can see, my Paragon just flying up because I haven't played very much yet this season. Come on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Positioning is going to be very important with this build. And I did mention legendary gems a few minutes ago. Right now, I only have 2 legendary gems, and I'm only using one of them. Right now, I'm using my Bane of the Powerful, because that's the first gem you receive in a season. And that's it. I've only done 2 Greater Rifts so far. This will be my 3rd. Give that a second to kill everything, and then we'll go. And let's see how quickly we kill the Rift Guardian. Literally one-shot him on Torment 10. I realize Torment 10 is not Torment 16. It's not a Greater Rift 100. But considering I've only been playing for 3 hours in this PTR season, it's not bad. So we're going to continue to test and see what works and what doesn't. Tasker and Theo is another item that may end up in the build somewhere. The keys to the build are Serpent Sparker, of course the 6-piece set, Mantled Heal, and the Magistrates. So everything else is kind of open. I feel like Tasker and Theo, you know, the extra attack speed will be helpful. The damage reduction on an Aquila Cuirass would be extremely helpful. And, you know, there's a few other items that I'm really excited to test with. Legendary gems, I think what's going to be best in slot is Bane of the Powerful, or excuse me, Bane of the Trapped, Enforcer, and then maybe a defensive gem, something like Esoteric Alteration. So I'm not positive. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. I realize this was probably a little scatterbrained, probably not the most concise, clear video I've ever made on the channel. But, like I said, this is the first episode in, you know, kind of a mini-series where I'm going to be looking at this set and seeing what the best build I can make out of it is going to be. I don't want to look at the leaderboards and just copy and paste. I want to come up with my own build. I feel like I'm doing that. It seems like everybody's pretty much just testing, you know, Arcane Torrent and things like that. So we will see where this takes us. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this is Primetime CP23, and we out.